Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first Scoop Talk of the basketball season. We're here right after Indiana's 90-72 victory in an exhibition matchup with Indianapolis. I am Ryan Kartje, and I have the three-man IDS basketball beat. If you guys want to introduce yourself quick?
Connor O'Gara.
Kevin Bowen. Avi Zayland.
So I guess, guys, we got a lot of first impressions tonight. I guess the one on most people's minds is, what do you think of Cody Zeller?
Bowen, you can take this one.
I thought it took him a while to get going. I believe he didn't have his first basket until about the 7-minute mark of the first half. But when he did have it, Verdell Jones found him on a break, and he did what he's really been doing his whole life, and that's running the floor for a big guy. I overheard Eric Gordon saying in the press room after, he's the first man down the floor every time. And for your center to be that guy, that's going to lead to a lot of easy baskets this year. I believe he was 5 of 7 from the field. He had 6 free throws, 16 points, and 8 rebounds for Zeller. Quiet. Yes, his dunks were emphatic. He had a couple and ones, but just a quiet game. You didn't see too many post moves. It took a while for IU to feed the post, but obviously UND had a game plan to front Zeller to double team him. But like Tom Crean echoed in the press conference afterwards, we got to play through Cody Zeller were his words, and I think IU did a solid job of that in the second half, and that's something that we're definitely going to see for games to come.
And you could definitely see how the offense changed when they were playing through Zeller. They looked a little sluggish to start, and then after they really got him going and he started getting it going, getting rebounds and pulling down offensive rebounds and kicking it back out to the perimeter, we started to see the other players play better.
Right, no, exactly. I mean, he's going to open up so many lanes. Will Sheehy and Victor Oladipo's ability to slash. Jordan Hall's obviously getting some open threes. We saw Matt Roth get some wide open looks, and he should be on the top of everybody's scouting, saying no. Oh God.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
No open looks for 30, but Roth hit some open threes. But again, Zeller is going to get touches. It's something that this team hasn't had in the past. Tom Pritchard, Derek Elston really haven't been those guys. So I think what Cody did tonight is what IU is going to see, and IU fans are going to see for the whole season.
And for that final Cody stat line, he was 5 of 7 from the field for 16 points and 8 rebounds. So it's kind of what we expected from him. What some people might not have expected was 18 points out of Will Sheehy. He really did well with his mid-range jumper. He pulled up a lot, and Crean said that was something that has always kind of been there for him. Crean did say he does need to work on his offensive rebounds a little bit. But, I mean, guys, how big of an effect do you feel like Will Sheehy will have the rest of the season, especially after seeing him, one game down?
Will Sheehy isn't going to be the loudest guy in the press conference, and I think that translated onto the court tonight. When people walk away from Assembly Hall, what are they going to remember? I think they're going to remember the Cody Zeller alley-oop, or the alley-oops to Cody Zeller that literally shook me in my seat when the applause came afterwards. I think they're going to remember the threes raining down from Matt Roth, Jordan Hulls. I don't think they're going to remember Will Sheehy leading the team in scoring. It was very quiet. He was very, very efficient. What was he?
8 of 11.
8 of 11
field.
from the field. Will Sheehy, a lot of that came in the first half, but I think that shows a lot of potential that Will Sheehy has. His ability to create opportunities not only for himself, but also for his teammates. This kid's fighting for a starting position, for a starting spot in that lineup consistently. I think that's going to be a developing storyline as we get further down the season. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
And I think he definitely showed today that he is capable of, filling that starting spot at the 3 or sometimes at the 4, like he probably was tonight because they were playing with a little smaller lineup. But I guess let's talk about that starting lineup a little bit, guys. Do you think that's something we'll see the rest of the year, or do you think that smaller lineup is something, it might have been just for Indy with a smaller team?
Avi talks about how Sheehy was fighting for a starting spot in this lineup. I think Sheehy has earned that starting spot, especially after seeing what Pritchard did tonight. I mean, to come in and then you get teed up. You're already in the coach's doghouse. Bench Pritchard for the entire first half after he did that. And Sheehy's looked unbelievable. I mean, we talk about how much this kid has grown from freshman to sophomore year. It's really been impressive. So I expect to see Sheehy in that starting role instead of Pritchard, which 3 weeks ago I don't think I would have said that. But as far as whether or not Oladipo is going to be in that starting lineup, I think obviously we would expect to see Watford back in that role when Watford's conditioning is back, when he is looking like the Christian Watford that we're used to seeing.
Now, as far as Christian Watford, I know we haven't really talked about him. Crean admitted he had a little bit of a slow defensive or offensive night. I think he ended up
points,
with 8 points, so not really up to his standards. But like Connor said, he's not really there yet as far as conditioning wise. You could tell the fatigue got him at times, but Crean did compliment his defensive stature, and I think a lot of that was him guarding. He was guarding point guard Adrian Moss a lot on the perimeter, and Moss, he might be a D2 player, but that guy can dribble. That guy can hit an open three, and we saw him do that, and he led the entire game in scoring with 22 points. But as far as Watford goes, I mean, I think a lot of that taking Pritchard out of the lineup is gonna put some confidence in Watford that he can he can play in the post, he can defend in the post, he can score points in the post, and I think it's tough to judge him from tonight's effort, but I think he'll be kind of a key cog going forward, especially if they don't start Pritchard.
Frankly, I was shocked when I saw Watford regarding Moss. Moss is probably 5'9" on a good day. Division I transfer, the only one on UIndy, and you saw his talent tonight. But again, Tom Crean, like Ryan said, loved what he saw from Watford on the other end of the floor, which is an area that I think was a big question mark coming into this year. If IU goes to Watford at the 3 and Pritchard at the 4 and Zeller at the 5, can he guard those guys that want to play away from the basket? But he really did a great job keeping Moss around the arc, didn't let him get in the lane, obviously used his length very well. Still a little rusty, I think, coming off the ankle, Achilles injury, whatever that may be. We haven't seen him.
Lower body injury, that's what they say in hockey.
The Haunted Hall Hoops, he didn't, or he did play there, but he didn't do Midnight Madness. So I think just a little rust by Christian Watford, but nothing to be worried about. The biggest thing that I take from is just other guys stepping up. We mentioned Sheehy and Jordan Holes kept on saying in the presser afterwards, it doesn't matter who the leading scorer is in this team. Yeah, it's kind of PR talk, but it is true. There's so many guys you can score at all 5 spots on the floor. That's something that this team hasn't had in the past. And I guess the one thing that I would also like to talk about is how about the leadership of Jordan Holes. Again, we keep on talking about how many guys were quiet tonight. How quiet was Jordan Holes? But just efficient. Didn't miss a shot. 5 assists, 0 turnovers, I believe somebody said after the game. Just that quiet leader. He was facing some smaller point guards, and Adrian Moss, Reese Cheatham, who were getting in his face a little bit, playing, really picked him up for full court. But I thought Jordan Holes was great tonight, and him playing the point is going to be huge this year.
It really looked like Holes felt comfortable being that floor general, kind of putting himself in the point guard position for good. Like we said, he was incredibly efficient with the ball. He didn't miss a free throw either. So technically, every shot he took.
Does he ever though? I mean, let's
be
honest.
True. So technically, every shot he took, he didn't miss. And more than that, I think we could see that his leadership kind of made a difference out on the court. I thought he was more effective playing the point than Verdell was. I thought of all the players offensively, Verdell looked a little slow. He didn't really seem like he was vibing tonight like a lot of the offense was. I don't know if you guys thought the same thing, but
I think a while to get going. He had that pull up late, and UND was playing a little zone too. I think to neutralize Zeller, which I think is going to be a defense IU sees a lot of this year. They don't really have a lot of great 3-point shooters. Yes, obviously Matt Roth and Jordan Holes, but besides that, Victor and Will aren't great shooters from outside. Neither is Verdell. So I think Watford could be guys going to step out and make some shots. So
I think that's
what see how IU attacks the zone throughout the year.
I think that's where we're going to see Austin Etherington kind of fill a role that IU really needs, because if you can get those wing guys who can drift out to the perimeter and hit a shot out there, or pass it in from Zeller, or get a dish from Zeller out on the perimeter, I think that's going to make a huge difference for them. I guess, what was your guys' impression of the other freshmen? I know we've talked plenty about Zeller. I know Remy came through and hit a big 3, and he looked pretty aggressive in my opinion. I know Etherington, not really as good of a performance as we saw from him at the last scrimmage, but I mean, I don't think there's any reason to be concerned.
Yeah, touching on that, Remy looked like a man possessed out there. He was hustling. I remember there was one shot he had, that clunked off the rim or something, and he was right back under the basket. I mean, this kid was hustling his butt off. And you saw that a little bit with the production on the court, but overall, this is an exhibition game. This is the first chance we're going to get to see of these freshmen. And obviously, there's things that we can take away from it, but at the same time, it's just going to be one of those things where we watch as the season progresses and see what trends arise from that.
Anyway, that's all the time we have for this Scoop Talk. We'll have Dustin back next time, so if If you hated me leading it, don't worry. This will be the only time probably for now. But anyway, from the first exhibition game, a 90-72 win for Indiana, we are signing off. Thanks.